Round two of the women's SEC tournament is now complete. And are we surprised, or were we expecting the results that we saw tonight? And I'm not even gonna lie, I ain't even watched the Kentucky-Georgia game, but I heard that it was good for the first half, and then Kentucky pretty much ran away with it. But I did get a chance to see Florida and Oklahoma, so let's talk about that one first. All right, so first of all, Florida. If it were not for Liv McGill, then Florida would have been run up out of the gym. Simply put, Liv McGill was the energy of that team. You can see it from her first basket. I think it was an and one, and she was ready to go. She was in it to win it. And what's crazy is, I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't pay much attention to her last year, and I was like, okay, what year is she? And she's only a sophomore. So I hope that she stays at Florida if she chooses to, if that's what's best for her. But I am so looking forward to watching her play, because although there was some things that I was like, oh, okay, maybe she should get her teammates more involved, you could tell just by the little things that she did that she is a good point guard. And what I mean by that is the passes that she was making, how they were right on par to her teammates, and how I remember when she said she was out, she studied where her teammates liked the ball, and you could see that on display tonight when they were playing, or today when they were playing OU. And so she had 19 points in the first half, pretty much getting what she wanted. But let's go back and let's talk about OU. So OU started out running, and Florida had some miscues when it came to defensive lapses. We saw that I remember specifically the OU girl was, I think they got maybe an offensive rebound or whatever, or something like that. And instead of going right back down to the girl on the block, OU passed it out. And I was like, ooh, that was a missed opportunity. But then it was the very next play, same thing kind of happened. And then they found the girl on the block for an easy two. So Florida had some miscues when it came to defense. And they also had some stupid turnovers. Let's just call it like it is. And I want to say that those were on the inbound plays. Turnovers that you don't need. Florida had a few of those, and OU capitalized off of those. So little things like that could have kept Florida in the game, that they did, that allowed OU to score some easy buckets that you just don't want to give them. And so Florida went on an 11-0 run. I think it was in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. And so OU, they weathered the storm, but Florida was just in their groove. Like I said, you had McGill, who was just pushing the pace, and she was pretty much getting what she wanted. You had O'Neal, who started out, I want to say she hit a 3, maybe even a 2, so she was starting out well, and then kind of disappeared. But then you had, this is when Florida went on that 11-0 run, and I know Chavez is having a good year, especially to be a freshman, but one of the things that I see that she needs to grow in as a point guard especially is that when Florida goes on that 11-0 run, instead of just coming down and jacking up a 3, I would like her to get something better. And to me, this is when a point guard who has some experience underneath their belts, they take control of the game and they get something easy rather than coming down and just jacking up a 3. So for me, this is when Chavez should have taken control of the team and should have gotten something easy, breaking that 11-0 run that Florida had. And so let's just be honest. Florida did not have an answer for Reagan Beers. Not too many teams have had an answer for Reagan Beers. Reagan's biggest competition is herself. And what I mean by that is that she often takes herself out of the game because she picks up fouls that she simply does not need to pick up. They are cheap fouls. When she's in the game, OU scores so easily with just getting the ball down to her and letting her work, and she usually gets an easy 2. But She picked up a couple of quick wins, and she was on the bench for, I want to say, the rest of the first half. But thankfully, thankfully for them, they were able to maintain that lead, weather the storm. I think it was pretty, I can't remember exactly what the score was at halftime. If it was not tied, it was pretty close though. But yes, Reagan has to be smarter, especially as they play. Who do they play tomorrow? Is it South Carolina? Let's see here. I'm sorry, they play LSU, and LSU blew them out the first time. I was actually at that game, and Oklahoma started off hot, but then they went completely cold, and I was like, again, Reagan Beers was in foul trouble. And so LSU, in my opinion, they still don't have anyone who can really stop Reagan Beers. So she has to be smarter when it comes to those fouls. OU needs her on the court, because tomorrow they're not playing Florida. They are playing the fast-paced, dynamic, when they want to be, LSU. So she'll need to be on the court. So like I said before, Liv McGill was keeping Florida in the game by herself. The commentator said, I know who Liv McGill reminds me of. And she was like, I was trying to figure it out. She was like, Allen Iverson. When Allen Iverson took that team to the finals against the Lakers, and he basically didn't have any help. But here's the difference. If I were on the panel, this is what I said. Here's the difference. With Allen Iverson, he had his role players. Yes, he was a star player. Yes, he did what he had to do. But he also had like Aaron McKee. He had Eric Snow. He had Dikembe Mutombo. He had I think Eric Coleman or some, I think maybe at that time, I can't remember exactly, but Allen Iverson was my favorite player growing up. So yeah, but he had teammates who played their role. Florida did not have that, so the weight was pretty much all on Liv McGill's shoulders. That's what, when you have just one player, you have to have your role players. You have to have your rebounders. You have to have your defenders. You have to have the person who is passing the ball, facilitating. You have to have those pieces in order for that to work. But that is very hard to work against a team just like Allen Iverson. When he faced the Lakers, he was only so much, and the Lakers just had too much. Same thing though. When you face a good team, one player more than likely is not going to be a good team, especially when it comes to several games in a row. All right, so we see that OU was eating. I talked about Florida's miscues earlier in the game, but OU was eating them up when it came to backdoor cuts. And honestly, when you continue to get beat backdoor, is just a lack of discipline. After one or two times, you're like, okay, I know not to overplay, because as soon as I go up, they're gonna cut backdoor. And to me, this just showed a lack of discipline when it came to Florida. Even if they were setting that back screen, like, you gotta communicate. You have to communicate. That's one of the things that drives me absolutely nuts just about the team that I'm coaching right now. And this generation of kids, I love them, but it is hard to get them to communicate. But Florida was just OU was having their way with that. Easy points for OU once again. Another problem that Florida ran into, or that just wasn't going to happen for them to win, is the fact that until 3 minutes and 40 seconds in the second quarter, Liv McGill was the only player on Florida's team who had taken free throws. That's a problem. And the reason why it's a problem is because that's telling me that she's the only one who is being aggressive. All right. Not only that, is that you're not getting offensive rebounds and putting them back up. You're not getting defensive rebounds. Offensive rebounds and putting them back up. That just goes to tell me that she's the only one being aggressive. You cannot be a good team when one player is responsible for basically all of your free throws in the first half. It simply is not going to work. All right, so let's talk about Chavez, because I can't remember where it was. Okay. This is the second half now. But Chavez, she leads the nation and free throw percentage at 93%. Why do I say that? I say that because I would like her to live at the free throw line more. Yes, I know that she is shooting a pretty good percentage when it comes to three-pointers, but when you get in a big game, those threes, those transition threes, or when you come down and no one else is touching the ball and you're shooting threes, then this is going to cost you. I would rather her get to the free throw line where she leads the nation at 93% and then work her way out to shooting the threes. But I would like her to be at the line more. That shows me that she is being more aggressive, attacking towards the goal rather than settling for the three. Liv McGill, going back to Liv McGill, she had 19 at the half. She finished with 28, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 28. And pretty much the second half is not much to talk about because Liv McGill got hurt. And what I told y'all before is she was the one who was carrying Florida. O'Neal came out and hit a three at the beginning of the second half, but OU just had too much. Reagan Beers was too much. They were scoring too easily, getting what they wanted. Too many defensive lapses, and not only that, but OU came out running the second half, and Florida just could not keep up, especially with Liv McGill hurting that right wrist or that right hand or arm or whatever it was. But yeah, once they came out running like that, it was a wrap for Florida. They just simply could not compete. And basically, that was that game. So tomorrow we have OU, like I said, facing LSU. I'm going to go. OU has today underneath their belt, and I know that, yeah, they'll be going back to back, but I mean, regardless, I'm still going to go LSU. I just think that LSU has too much for OU, and I don't think Chavez is there yet. And in my opinion, until you have a point guard who is making smarter decisions and really running that team, then it's going to be hard for you to beat one of those top-ranked teams. Now, I do hope it's a good game, but I'm an LSU fan, so I am going to go with LSU. But not only because I'm an LSU fan, I try to be fair and I try to be honest, but I just think they have a better team. I think they have too much for OU. But OU is playing some good basketball. But like I said, I think that if Reagan Beers can stay out of foul trouble, then they have a shot. But if Reagan Beers is in foul trouble, then it's a wrap. It's a wrap. But I want to say you have the number 1 and number 2 team when it comes to transition offense. So it should be a fast-paced, good, exciting game. So that's what I'm hoping for Friday when they play each other. All right, so not gonna lie, I missed the Ole Miss game, but once I turned it on, I didn't miss the whole game, but once I turned it on, they were pretty much having their way with Auburn. But Auburn, they were having their way, but Auburn they didn't give up. They chipped away a little bit at the end. I want to say maybe got it to 10 or so like that, and then Ole Miss they put McMahon and what's my girl's name? I'm going blank. I'm going blank. But they put those two back in the game, and that was that. That was a wrap on that. So, but I did watch the following game. I did watch UT versus Alabama. And time again this season, I have tried to give Tennessee the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to be honest, because I see that they have so much potential because they are athletes, but I just think that this season is pretty much a wrap for them. I think they are over this season. I think their coach is over this season. I think that the team is over this season, and it seems like they have, some fight at times, but then when they get down, you can see it in Janiah Barker specifically, like her body language. I saw tonight, but yeah, I just think they're done for. So I picked them to win this game, but they lost to Alabama, who played a good game. But so we saw that Barker came. Let's go over real quick. We saw that Barker came out aggressive. Jessica for Alabama, she came out hooping. She was doing good. And there was one time in the first quarter where there was a lull where both teams were just going back and forth. It's like a track meet. Neither team was hitting. It was crazy. It was ugly. I ain't even gonna lie. And I was like, somebody please slow this thing down. But then Tennessee Spearman, she scored 5 straight. She hit a 3, then she came down and hit a 2 for UT. But even though that she had a pretty good game, it would not be enough for Tennessee. But we saw Alabama, they were getting offensive rebounds and they were easily breaking Tennessee's press. And you just can't have that. Like, you just cannot be giving up offensive rebounds. And if pressing is what you do, then you cannot leave the middle of the floor wide open. You know that's where you want the ball. And then from there, every coach tells you, get the ball in the middle of the floor. And because you got the opportunity to go right, you got the opportunity to go left. And I mean, UT, they just were not getting it back, and they were slow on their defensive rotations, not only when it came to in the press, but also when it came to half court setting. But we see, I said that Tennessee was slow on rotations. Yeah, it was just, I mean, especially when you press. And they have athletes, so they have the ability to do this, and they are deep enough to do this. You cannot let up. It's not one effort. This is what I teach my players. Basketball is not a one effort thing. It kills me. It kills me and frustrates me when you go hard one time and then you let up. No, it's a second effort. It's a third effort. It's a fourth effort until you get the ball. You do not stop. You continue to go. That's what being a dog is. And after Tennessee, after they didn't get it one time, then they would let up, and then just a split second like that, Alabama was scoring an easy 2 points. So that was a problem. Tennessee had way too many turnovers in the first half, and I think this is one of the reasons why. Is because UT works, in my opinion, way too hard to get baskets. It's way too hard for them to score because primarily you have everybody on the perimeter. And yes, they have some sets where you got like a high-low. Of course they have that. But pretty much what you see is that somebody catches the ball on the perimeter, they're shooting threes, or they're trying to penetrate that defense to where they have to take more than 2 dribbles, more than 3 dribbles, and they are trying to penetrate that defense, and Alabama was packing it in. And guess what? That's right. Turnover for for Alabama. They are going the other way and scoring. And what I would like to see more from Tennessee, maybe next year, is because I think this year is a pretty much wrap. I ain't even gonna lie. Maybe next year, if she still has the same personnel, I would like to see her post up more of her players more. OU does a good job of this. You'll see, what's my girl's name? Sahara Williams, you'll see her, you'll see Peyton, you'll see them run some things to where those guards are posted up on the block and they get an easy 2. Tennessee has this same capability. I would like to see them some more back cuts, some more post up on the blocks from all of their players, especially Janiah Barker. Like, she can score at all 3 levels. Utilize her as much as you can down in the post, or down in that scoring in that second level, and you can use her on the 3. But shooting the 3 should not be top priority, especially when you have a group of athletes. I know this all too well because of when I played in college. My coach tried to run an offense to where we were shooting primarily 3s, but we had for real 2 3-point shooters on our team. That's what they did. All the rest of us, we were athletes. We wanted to get out. We wanted to run. We wanted to attack, but the offense was not fitting for us, and so it simply did not work out. So I would like to see her use that athleticism more. And athletes, we like mid-range and like being on that block is using our athleticism. But you can also shoot the 3, but it should not be your first scoring option. I would like to see more of that next year. Janiah Barker can play. Don't get me wrong, she can play. But I remember the second half to where she thought she got fouled. She kind of quit. Well, point guard continued to play. Mia, yeah, and she ended up giving it back to her. But Janiah, she was just still hanging out there because she really hadn't moved. So as one of the seasoned players on the team, I mean, you haven't been playing long for Tennessee, but you've been playing long enough, then you have to bring that energy. You cannot stop. All right. So I mean, that's just an attitude thing. And I'm sure that's one of the things that coach has been frustrated with. And I'm not saying, I'm not going to get into all of that. But Tamia Scott for Alabama, she was hitting threes. Basically, Alabama just played a good game. Tennessee didn't play. They look good as they have in some spurts. But, I mean, it just, like I said, I just think that they are done for the season. But it's unfortunate to see because they do have a ton of potential. And I know that Kim Cotwell has caught so much negative attention and criticism, and I'm not saying that it's not justified, but she is a young coach. It's her second year at Tennessee. She's coming from Marshall, where I heard that she after like one season she turned it around, but the stakes are high at Tennessee. I'm not making any excuses for her. But it's tough. It's tough, especially only being your second season and being a young coach. So yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they move forward. I mean, this season is not over with, but yeah, just how they move forward. I know what she does do though. She brings in some good talent. She brings in some good talent, because I wanted to say that 10 of the 12 who are on the roster, she was responsible for bringing them in. So it's just learning. Like I said, she's a young coach. It's just adjusting. It's about, honestly, especially when it comes to a certain group of players, but players in general, you have to build trust with them. And that is how you get your players to run through a wall for you. That's how you get them to play for you and to play for each other, when they know that you believe and trust in them, and when you have built those relationships with them. I'm not sure if that has happened. So that is something that happens. Yes, it happens on the court, but it also happens off the court as well. Your players just knowing that, hey, yeah, I'm here to play basketball. I get it, but you have to, I'm not saying she doesn't, I believe she does care about her players, but you have to build that relationship with them. Especially, I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble with this. Am I gonna get in trouble on YouTube or by any? But I'm just gonna be honest, especially when you are a coach of a different ethnicity. So yeah, that's especially true. Your players have to respect you, and the way that you earn that respect is by building relationships with them. So tomorrow, that is the recap that I have for today. It was some good games today, but tomorrow I am super excited because we have some more good games coming on. Of course, you have your winners of today taking on those who have not played, taking on the top dogs of the SEC. So it should be fun. It should be good. Even though we got some teams like Kentucky who will be playing their third game in 3 days, but it ain't the time to make excuses. You got to do what you got to do in order to get it done. So tomorrow, starting off, we got Kentucky versus South Carolina at 12 p.m. Eastern time, or if you're like me, that is 11 o'clock Central time. So I'm going to go South Carolina. I know they haven't played, but it's South Carolina, and Kentucky just played them close. So it might be a pretty good game. They're rolling. Kentucky's rolling, but 3 games in 3 days with a South Carolina team who is playing some of their best basketball right now, who is more rested, than I'm going to go South Carolina and have the experience of being there. Yeah, I'm going to go South Carolina. Then we have Oklahoma versus LSU. This has the potential to be a good one, but I think that LSU just has too much. Oklahoma will be playing their second game in 2 days, which I think that's fine. But the key for Oklahoma in this game is Reagan Beers. Will she be able to stay on the court? If she does, the game can be competitive. If she does not, then I will honestly just expect a blowout like it was the first time when they played them back in January. And then we have, so that game is at 2:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Central time. And then we have Vanderbilt playing Ole Miss. We know that is when Cody McMahon went off for 40 plus points a game, setting a SEC or school record, something like that. But then you have her facing the SEC Player of the Year, National Player of the Year, and Michaela, who is just a dog. We have them playing tomorrow at 6 o'clock Eastern time, 5 o'clock Central time, and I'm going to go Vanderbilt. You got Ole Miss, who already came in wounded from injuries, wounded from just being tired, and then you got to face number 2 seed in Vanderbilt and Michaela and Gab. Yeah, I'm going Vanderbilt. All right, they rightfully so pretty much swept in their awards that they had, in the SEC awards that they had this season. They got the Coach of the Year. I think that they are on a high. Even though Ole Miss has been having a good season, I think Vanderbilt is going to take this one. And then you got number 3 Texas against number 11 Alabama, who beat Tennessee. That game is our late game, coming on at 8:30 Eastern time and then 7:30 Central time. And Alabama is on a roll, and they could possibly beat Texas because Texas has been up and down this year. They've been like a roller coaster, along with some other teams in the SEC or across women's basketball period. But I'm going to go Texas. They had some days of rest. Coach Schaefer even said, like, when they got back, he was like, I'm gonna give you 2 days of rest. I don't even want to see you. They needed it. Well, I think that they are well rested, and they know that it is tournament time in the SEC. So I think that they are going to send Alabama home tomorrow. But key for this game is you got Rory, who runs that team, who is the heart and soul of that team, and Madison Booker, who needs to have a good game. She does not need to disappear, and we don't need to not know that she's on the court. I think that she is key in this game, along with, your other players. But you got those two who take care of business. That usually when they do what they're supposed to do, then everyone else falls in line. So tomorrow from about noon or a little bit before noon all the way to later that night, we got some good games going on. And where we at? South Carolina. Yes, Greenville, South Carolina. So I encourage you guys to watch. I'm looking forward to it. Let me know who you guys think will win the games, and let me know who you guys think will win the SEC tournament. I cannot go against South Carolina. I'll be honest. They've been there, that experience. They know what it's like to be here, and they know what it takes to win. So I'm going to go South Carolina, but let me know you guys' thoughts from the games today, for games tomorrow, and who you guys think will win. So as always, I appreciate y'all watching.